Alright guys, part 3, putting on the color. Okay, now you've taken your base and you've pounded down the edges until they're nice and thin. And you finalize this to a fairly well so it's nice and thin and firm all over. And now we're going to put the color on. We're going to put our color inside first, and I want to show you how I do it and why I do it like this. The reasoning is I want to be able to reach right down into the top of the hat and go in all directions. If it's down inside, I'm not going to be able to go in all directions. So you take thin swatches. You don't want any bunches. You lay it in the bottom. Lightly tack it in. Take another swatch, thin it out. Cross it over. Tack it down. When you do this, you also get to see the thin spots where you're missing an area. Like in here it's thinner. In here it's real thin, but you can see that it's thinner in here too. Okay. Clear that thin spot. It gets unruly and I just do like this to bring it back together. Spread it out. Put it in. Okay, now we take these and we tack these guys down. I'll be darned, I still got one thin spot under there. Did I hit it? Yes, I did. That takes care of that spot. Now, not only is it easier laying the stuff down this way, but I will be able to tack it back and forth and up and down, in and out, and criss and cross, and every which way. And it's hard to do that. Very hard to do that when the sides are up. Because you have to be able to come in like this and the sides are there. So this way you can come in this way and this way and that way and that way and every which way, and no problem. Now, even though you don't have to be worried about this going to the other side if you're going to make it the same color on both sides, but it's still a good idea not to tack deeply. You want these threads to go down into the base, but not through it. Okay, and then once more, and you went this way, now you're going this way. When you've done that all 4 directions, you can take another peek and see if there's any light spots that showed up in the middle. I think I'm going to have one right there, and I haven't even gotten finished finalizing it yet. Now remember, thin overlaying spots works. Thick swatches do not work. Thick swatches are going to be more connected to themselves than to everybody else. Okay, so thin swatches is a good idea. Now, I'm going to go off and I'm going to go back and forth and up and down, back and forth and up and down until this is real solid. And then I'll come back. I'm pretty much finished with my inside cap. This edge needed a little bit more. See, this is why it's nice. I just lay this down like that and I can come right in at a slant. That's not done quite yet. I put a patch over here for a light spot and it's not quite finalized yet. The rest of it is staying down nicely, but the patch is still coming up. I've gone across that darn patch 4 times already. I know what I need to do. Get a little deep penetration on it. Make sure it's really pushed out in all directions. Now, come back and equalize it with everybody else. Okay, now the outside is going to be the same color as the inside except for from here out. Okay, so this is going to be a different color and a lighter color. Now I went back and forth that a lot. I did it about a half an hour, and I did it from 2, 4, 6, 8 different directions. That's not bad. I got a little enthusiastic. I was playing some fast music, and you know how that goes. Anyway, that's not enough to interfere with the outside color. Okay, so now I'm going to come in from the inside. Now the inside color is going to come right down to the end of the bill. So I'm going to start on the bill end. Where those 2 colors are going to meet. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to set this on the edge. Stay put. You be good or I'll poke you somewhere. Okay, now a little bit over here. When you're putting on a swatch like this, it's in one direction. You hold it and you tack it in the direction towards its end. And you hold this guy and you tack it in the direction towards that end. I want you to see how this is doing. See how this is sticking out over here? This one, not as much as it should. A little bit more there. A little bit more here. What we want to do is we want it to fuzz out a little, because we're going to be, where was it? Where did it need more? Right there. Because we're going to meet the two colors on the brim, on the very edge. We want a fuzzy, soft, fuzzy edge. We don't want a harsh edge. We don't want a wrapped edge. We don't want a, like if you wanted a tight edge, you could take this and turn it around like this and lay it like there, like a tight edge. We don't want that. We want light and fuzzy. Just a lot of it. There we go. This is where it was real light on the edge. I'm tacking it just inside and not exactly on the edge, for a very good reason. There, now that looks nice. And it's still soft and fuzzy, so it's very, very packable. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead from here towards the inside. And I'm going to change tactics. It goes from the inside to the outside. Here we've got inside stopping at the edge. And we're going to have outside stopping at the edge. I sure like the feel of wool. Nice. That's a little better. So when your color is going to be different from the inside and the outside, you put your inside color on first from the rim in. And since the bill is the only part that's going to be different on the outside, I'm just doing the bill from the rim in. Okay. Then and start putting it on the inside out. I have a light spot right there. I can see it already. Lay that down. and then put that one on. I'm being very mindful that my thumb is nearby. At this point, I'm still tacking. Okay. I'm going to take the inside and work it to the outside. That's kind of thin over there. Let's move the whole thing over. Now, since the outside on the rest of the hat is going to be the same as the inside, cut that out. And bring it down right to the edge so we don't see any light underneath it. Now, in case you're wondering, I am barely bringing my needles above the edge, the surface of my wool. I'm not doing this. It's pretty much place and poke. See how I brought it from the inside down to the edge. I have a light spot there. I have a lighter spot there. Okay, now, before I have left these like hanging on the ends and they get real ratty. So now what I do is I go ahead right away, pull them to the outside, and tack them right at the edge. These guys are going to be wrapped around both directions. Okay, that's what you do. And when from outside in, once you go around and do your pieces from the inside out, you don't need to spend an hour sitting here staring at me doing it, because it'll take me about that long. Okay, I've got the inside covered. Before I do the outside, or before you do the outside, I want you to finalize the inside absolutely as best you can, even down to the edges. Finalize it really good, because it's easier when you have it finalized on one side before you do the other. You don't have to, but trust me, it works better this way. Now, when you've got it, as you're finalizing it, you're going to keep holding it up to the light and look for any light that seems to be shining through, and you're going to see a lot of it. As that happens, you take and you put your patches down, and then you finalize them down into it. Put your patches down, finalize into it. You'll probably see a lot on the brim, and you'll see some on here that you didn't even notice when you were finalizing it. But go around and make sure that all the holes are filled in. Not ones you see, but ones when you hold up the light you can see through your hat. Okay? Then we're going to take care of a little brim problem. Now, the inside is very firm, very smooth. I gave it the treatment where you really scrub it and see if you can raise up any little pieces. And I want you to see if you can notice how spread out this got. This is what happens when you finalize one side. It will actually spread, because every time you put that needle in there, you're spreading the fibers ever so little, and you end up with a spread. Now, also notice, because of the way I finalize it on the inside, it's like a bowl. I can straighten that out later by putting it down like this and putting a edge on it, but it's gonna, a lot of that's going to be take care of itself as we do the outside. Okay, now right now I'm going to get this straight all the way around. Okay. Now, we're going to take care of this bulge. See this? We don't want that. We don't want to wear it like a helmet. Okay. So this is what you do to fix this part. You lay your hat, you put your hat on your form, and you lay it so that you get a bigger dip at the bottom. You go right down to the very bottom, right here, like where it's meeting the bottom, and you just kind of tack it in from the top to the bottom. It doesn't look like you're doing much, but what you're doing is you're telling the fibers next to each other to cuddle up. And you turn it ever so little, and you do it again. And it really doesn't look like you're accomplishing much. You don't want big folds. You just want to talk these guys into getting close and friendly. Go around a little bit, turn it a little bit more. You see how very tiny I'm turning it. And you want it right down, like parallel. You're doing it parallel to the floor, to the pad. Because what you're doing in effect is you're taking this here and you're telling it to join that, like that. But you're doing it so that you're holding this down so it can't go anywhere. You're holding this down, you're telling that to join it. Okay? Now don't try to insist it all does it at once. It won't happen, not unless you want a big old fold. So you just keep going down, turning it. Let it bulge and keep talking it into joining itself. And you do that all the way around. All the way around. See, that little part there is already sticking in better, isn't it? The little part we did here. But you're going to keep doing that all the way around, and every time it'll get a little bit closer. Now, if yours looks kind of wonky like this after the first pass, it means you really did it hard. You don't have to do it that hard. You just keep doing several passes. I did this on purpose. The first The first hat I did, I tried doing it hard in a spot and I ended up like this in one area, and I said, okay. So I went back and I did it real light, and I ended up with it like this after the first pass. Kind of smooth but still sticking out. It'll still do that. After 2 or 3 passes, you'll have a nice tight rim, and you want to start going on the second pass on. You want to start going from the top down. So you want to go from here all the way down as you go, and that'll bring this tightness in here, and it'll also help start forming your crown. Unless you like it, some people like the round top crown like that. I like to make mine flatter usually. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do 2 more light passes, and as you do light passes, these will start to straighten out, and if they don't, then you take it off the form and you set it back down and you pound it down again and go back and forth. Okay, I'm going to go make another couple passes around until I've got this down where I want it. Here's after another pass, getting closer. This side over here is almost done. This side still has some bumps to work out and some buckle to do. Okay, give it another pass. And you can see where my rim is nice and tight to my form again all the way around. But I want to show you what you do with trouble spots. Remember the bumps that you made because you went too hard? Okay. Now for these, you take a smaller one. You can use your single, or if you have a 3-point like this is a clover 3-point. You hold part of this down here so it can't move that away. Not under your fingers now. Very gently coax this side of the bump that away. And down into the side. You want to get rid of that bump. Coax it towards your hand very carefully and down into the side. See what's happening? Towards your hand. You're holding this so it doesn't just move that away. And down into the side. Okay, now I'm going to give it one more shot. Make sure that I got it tight as I want it. And this is just a light one from the crown down. It doesn't look like you're doing much because you can still see the bulge, but that's because you're pressing down on the hat and you're compressing your form and allowing it to stick out on the side. And I'm using the smaller one instead of the big the big multi. You can still use the big multi, it doesn't make any difference. I just didn't set this one down, I'm using it. Problem solved. Now, I'm going to go back and thin out the rim again a little bit because this thickened it. You hold it and you go towards your hand. And you hold it and you go towards your hand. Hello, kitten. You hold it and go towards your hand. You go up towards the sides. I'm going to get any extra thickness you got there pushed up into the hat. I notice this part is thinner. I'm going to make sure I wrap from the outside into this side to take care of this little thinner area right here. A little thinner here. A little thinner here. Okay, looking good. Now we're going to put it back on here. I'm going to go around one more time. Not a bad idea after you thin it out. This time I thin it out. I'm heading slightly towards the top of the hat. I had a little trick I used when I wanted to see what I was doing better. I hold this. Come down into it like that. As long as you're holding it so that your material can't move away from your needles, and you can keep bunching it. You just kind of go like that. Any kind of foam that isn't that breaky styrofoam type stuff is nice to have pieces of because they really help you. Okay, now personally, I want to get this into a little bit better condition here. I want a little flatter crown, a little more of an edge. This one's shorter, and I want it longer, so I'm coming from the top towards the edge. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I'll flatten a little bit towards the front. I'm not really wild with a big bulge. I'm not a round cap type person. There we go. Now, instead of having that really rounded top, I've got a slightly rounded top. My bottoms are pretty even. Okay, now we're ready to put on the outside color. Now you have a choice. You can put the rest of your color on and then add your front. Probably be better. You blend your front into the back. So I'm going to take some pieces off. To work with. Now you know that it's totally dense on the inside. You saw absolutely no light patches going out. So your biggest thing on the outside is to make sure that none of this white shows through. Don't want you in there. That's too thick. You want light swatches. It's better to put several light swatches on than one heavy. Okay, I like to tack this down. If you have to go near your fingers, set it and then push it. Set it and then push it. Okay? You don't want any holes. Besides, blood, it's so tacky to have blood on your hat, you know? Much better to have just the hat color on there. Okay. So, start from the crown, and you want it to go in different directions. Come here, you go that way. you go that way. See how it kind of crisscrosses there? Right now we're tacking. Let's see what our coverage is going to be like. Okay, this area here looks pretty well covered. Little spot there that's not. Don't want the white showing through. There. I'll work my way around. Now I'll start working down the sides. Just take your time. There's no hurry. Making a hat is relaxing and therapeutic. There's nothing hurry up about it. It's a long time. Relax and enjoy yourself. Really feel good about it. Exercise. I wasn't paying attention where my hat was. I got way too much in front here. I want this to kind of come up and blend into it, so take some of this out. Check for bare spots again. That's the nice thing about lightly tacking instead of really trying to stick it to it. It's a tack and tear method. You put it on, tear it off. Okay, that's gonna be a little bare right there. There we go. And most especially around this brim area, I don't want to tack anything really hard because I don't know what I'm going to have to add and what I'm going to have to take off. So go ahead and bring it down to the brim. The rim, not the brim. Okay. So I'm just going to take some of this, lay it down. Lay it down. Come here, fella. Now, two things to remember. You're going to tack it down a couple directions, and you don't want it to get big again, so you're going to go towards your hand without going into your hand. So you're compacting them together at the same time that you're tucking these little add-ons here to go down into the fabric. You can also do it this way with your little helper here. Holding it good, going towards your thumb so the fabric cannot move away from it. I went in the other direction, so now I'm going back in this direction with the help of my little foam tab. Now that took care of that. Okay, back down where it belongs again. Now bring the wisp from the inside out. Firm. I did stretch it a little bit when I did that. I'll go back and control it now. Won't take much. Just a light pull in. One trip around would be all it really takes. Okay. So go ahead and crisscross your top, looking for thin spots, soft spots. Make sure you crisscross them. We're looking for a good solid coverage. Tack it every chance you get. See if there's any holes in there. Any lighter spots. You can put as many layers on this as you want. If you live in a place where it's really cold, or this is going to someone who's really cold, now's a good time to put a lot of layers on it. Make it so warm that when it's not cold and you put it on, you break out in a sweat. Literally. I cannot wear my hats. I live in Southern California, and it does not get cold enough for me to wear my hats. So I make the ones that I'm going to wear as thin as possible. And that will be my winter hats. More for fashion than anything else. Now I'm going to do my edge. And I want you to see it, and I want to see it. There we go. So now, we came up with our wispy areas, so we don't need to go over the wispy areas. I'm going to come down to the edge. And not over the edge. Okay. This is going to go this way. You still want to crisscross them, because the ones that are going down in there and connecting to the base will bring the ones under it with it. And if they're going crisscross, then it keeps them from just kind of deciding together they're going to come back out. Because they can be pretty sneaky that way. This time I'm going to go this way. Down to the edge. And you're going to do that all the way around. Come up here. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice. That's kind of a lighter area right there, so I'm going to put the patch over that. And I can bring it down over here like that. Oops. Okay. You want to play? Let you play right over here. You tack it in, tack it where you want to. We already did under and over and around the edge, so you don't need to go under the edge. Okay, so you go ahead and finish that all the way around. I'm going to go over to the other side of the bill and start working my way back this way. I'm going to go over here and work around, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I've got my outside tacked on all the way around, except for, of course, where my brim is. I'm going to go ahead and finalize that before I put this color on. Make sure there's no holes, no problems, and I know exactly what I'm doing with my brim. I won't totally finalize, well, I might. If I finalize these edges, I'm going to take and fan them out very thin and finalize them into the fabric, so there won't be a heavy transition into the other color. Sometimes you want one, you'll actually put ridges on the side to make sure it stands out. This time I just kind of want it to blend in. So I'll see you back when I get that finalized and we're ready to put the front on.